Wormtongue. Have you ever read Lord of the Rings?
No.
No, well, read it. It's a belter. I cannot say. I mean, I'm... To be perfectly honest with you, Mr. Baxter, the terms of my contract forbid me from speaking in public on programming matters. Although I think I have flirted with it in the past, much in the way as the Germans flirted with the Maginot Line. But on this occasion, I simply must say, no, I'm... It's a bit too early to get sentimental, isn't it?
Just a little bit.
I think the nice thing about this programme is that, irrespective of my contribution, is that it's a bit of a... I think a lot of people feel that it's something that they belong to. And I'm sad that it's going. On the other hand, it was killing me.
Well, don't worry, I'm forming a society, bring James H back.
Oh, do me a favour.
So if you can give me a address out later on, if you're willing to join.
Certainly, yeah. No, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll join it on condition that you rename it, bring James H Reeve back on Twice the Money Society.
Well, anyway, before I go, James, before you cut me off, right.
None of that tonight.
Right, I've got a few jokes. A few last jokes for you.
Are they as good as the previous ones?
Yes, right.
Oh.
JC's walking near the pearly gates.
Yeah.
And Adolf Hitler comes up to him. He says, can you let me in, Jesus? He says, oh, I'm sorry, Adolf, I can't let you in.
First name terms?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, well, why can't you let me in? He said, because you killed all them innocent Jews in the war.
Mm.
He said, well, come on, let me in. I'll give you the Iron Cross if you let me in. He said, oh, I'll just go and ask God. So he goes up to God. He said, God, can I let Adolf in? He's repented and everything now. He said, can he come in? He said, on no account, son, let him in. But he said he'd give me the Iron Cross. He said, Iron Cross? I don't know why you want that. You couldn't carry the wooden cross.
Oh, very, very amusing. Very, very funny indeed. Right, that's bang goes your Kevin Bloody Wilson LP. In Cheadle, Jane Cockley, I think this is. Hello.
Coakley.
Pardon?
Coakley.
Coakley, all right then.
Hi, Jim.
Hello, shake the phone.
Right.
That's much worse. Yes, go on.
I'd like to complain to you about the state of British swimming pools. I'm sick to death of people.
You know, it's a funny thing, Jane. I'm surprised that someone hasn't raised the matter before.
Well, I'm sick of people peeing in them.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Especially if they're on the diving board at the time. Ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, well, I was in the swim baths, right, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And there was a piece of turd floating around.
Was there?
Don't you think it's disgusting?
I think it's absolutely awful.
Anyway, will you play something by Joy Division?
You seriously expect me to, do you?
Well, I've got this person called Beds and he told me to.
Did he?
Yeah.
And you really expect me, after you're using that, after you're talking about a mockingbird floating in the swimming pool, Richard, to play your record?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Right, and in Moss Side, no show without punch, eh? In Moss Side, Monsieur Nolan.
Hello, Jim.
Nolan.
I'd just like to say that it's the end of an era.
I've said that twice already.
Well, you don't say it 3 times. But the sparring competitions we had was quite useful to me. I mean, we both know that I overpowered you very easily, but...
Oh, come along now, please.
You were a tough opponent, Jim.
Oh, but you are magnanimous in victory, are you?
Yeah, there was no problem, but I'd like to go on to the 2 people who gave you the most pleasure in talking about, and that was Maggie Thatcher and Ronald Reagan. Now, in the past couple of days, they've both given you some sweet ammunition to fire at them.
I know.
Well, Ronald, when he took the mickey out of Dukakis and said he doesn't take the mickey out of a cripple, that line, he's been saying that for 50 years in Hollywood to everyone he's ever met.
Really?
That's true. He always comes out with that in a party, because Ronald used to hang about with Errol Flynn. And if you hung about with Errol Flynn...
you were certainly hanging about, weren't you?
You were hanging about,
I'll
you know,
say,
on the Sirocco, they were hanging about down there.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Dukakis took it well, as a great man should do.
Yeah.
Because, there's no problem there, because the election's ours, so there's no point in kicking up a fuss, so we're just staying cool. I mean, even George Bush didn't say anything, because he was embarrassed by it.
Well, yeah. I thought Dukakis' line was brilliant. It was the most subtly understated comment I've heard for hundreds of years. He said, well, people, referring, of course, to Ronald Reagan, remember, he said, well, people occasionally say the wrong thing.
That's right. Yeah, well, he took it in his stride. But today, Jim, that interview in Australia with Maggie Thatcher, I definitely thought he was one of your cousins.
He was stunning, wasn't he, eh?
He was the top man. He wouldn't let Maggie get a word in.
That's right. Yes, well, never mind all that crap, Prime Minister. What about the question? He was brilliant.
Well, it's not very often Maggie is put down in front of TV, because in this country they never do it to her because they're too afraid.
She went purple, didn't she,
That's right.
eh?
She had to go off in the end and admit defeat.
It was like watching a Belisha beacon.
That's right, Jim.
I tell you what, you know about these things, don't you? Would you, could you tell us, Mr. Dukakis is of Greek descent?
Yeah, and his wife is Jewish, so that's a very good combination for the votes.
Oh, smashing, yeah. Which football team does he support?
It's Olympiakos, because that's his sister, by the way, Olympiakos Dukakis, believe it or not.
Is that her name, really?
That's the name, and she won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress in with Cher in Moonstruck. She can't act away out of a paper bag. In fact, she looks like a woman out of Neighbours, the old woman who controls everyone in that show.
I wouldn't know about that, but anyway.
But, it's Olympiakos anyway. And that's the team Norman Whiteside wanted to join before Olympiakos found out he couldn't play football.
Well, there we are. See, a little bit, you learn something every day on this programme, don't you?
Well, Jim, I was wondering what your opinion of the great Chris Quentin, who's going to be married to the great American TV presenter, Lisa Gibbons. I mean, now you're the only eligible bachelor left in Manchester.
That's right. There are plenty of eligible ones.
That's right.
Most of the punters. But, yeah, I don't know. I think I mean, one of the reasons I came into show business, as you'll be aware, Paul, was for the massive financial rewards.
Well, this is it.
Which seem to be a bit slow in arriving.
Did you get that letter from Johnny Carson, by the way?
What? No. Hey, it's those Herberts at Newton Street again, isn't it?
They held it up, yeah. Well, me and Johnny Carson were having a chat.
Yeah.
And we were saying that possibly at the end of the month, you, Eddie Murphy, Ronald Reagan, Maggie Thatcher, Viraj Mendes on the same show.
Yeah. Little and large as well.
And Bernard Manning.
Oh, fantastic, hey?
Big Bernard.
Hey. With a full supporting stage.
That's the one, Jim.
Oh, well, I mean, I just hope the lads down there aren't... I hope they're not delaying it unreasonably. I hope they're not committing a criminal offence, which, of course, it is, to tamper with Her Majesty's mail.
That's right, and also, another bit of good news for you today. With Gordon Strachan re-signing for United, this means United will definitely not win the league again, because Gordon Strachan, as you well know, Jim, is not even as good as Neil McNabb.
He couldn't hit the parish he was born in.
Very true. All I want to say, Jim, is what Spock used to say in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Live long and prosper.
Well, that's very nice of you. I wish I could say the same to you, Paul.
Fair enough.
Get off, then. Right. Thank you. There he is. Oh, still, I mean, there's still Saturday afternoons, Paul. Don't worry. You can still inflict yourself upon us. I've just been reading, actually, while Mr. Nolan was rambling on in such tedious and predictable fashion, I was just reading the instructions on this packet of balloons. What a lot of balloons, I was thinking. And it says in here... not recommended for children, which means presumably they've got a hole in them. And it says, for ease of inflation, please rub in the palm of the hands. Well, that's something I can't argue with, actually. And obviously something that I try to encourage other people to do. So, still not many people here. Of course, early yet. Oh, I know what it is. It's the 11 o'clock closing, isn't it? They won't be drifting in till about 20 past or so. OK, then, fine. Time for another one. And then one of the records which has not been... well, it's 12 months or so since it was in the throbbing 30, but it's something that I think says something that I've been trying to say in a way on this type of radio programme. I'll explain more about that later. First of all, we'll do the break, and then we'll do the record.
Attention, music.
You're the voice. I sometimes get the terrible, terrible feeling that people listen to that and think, what a nice record, and it doesn't occur to them to listen to the words whatsoever. If you're one of those people, then you've made a very, very serious mistake. Still, that's what we try to sort of tinker about and do on this programme. If you've been listening for 2.5 years and sort of wondered what the hell this is supposed to be, then if you hang on till, I don't know, maybe for another couple of hours, I'll probably try and explain. It's a bit like, what was it, that Patrick McGowan bloke, The Prisoner. You find out what it all means in the very last episode. Yeah, I think that's a very appropriate metaphor. OK, a few more punters to cram in before 11 o'clock. They're on the way.
On Sunday...
And here we go again. Staley Bridge and Rick Ashton.
Hello, James.
Hello, Richard.
It's sad, ain't it?
Sad? It's, I'm wringing wet through here.
It's sad. Before I start, can I just say hello to my friends who are listening in to your show, your Vela show, called Mike Burkitt and Mark Bailey. OK. And you mentioned Andy Stewart before.
Oh, yeah. Hey, one of the... Oh, we never had an Andy Stewart week, did we? I forgot. Oh, hellfire.
Well, didn't he die a couple of months ago?
Did he?
I think so. I think he died.
Well, it doesn't matter. He'll still be doing New Year's Eve, won't he?
Yeah, anyway...
Just a minute, I'll ask Doris.
Right, OK. I'll just wait here, you know.
Doris, hang on a sec. Doris? Doris? Doris, is Andy Stewart up there? No, apparently he's not. Well, actually, after having seen the White Heather Club, I can understand that.
Yeah.
So, as yet, it's unconfirmed.
No, well, he wasn't much cop anyway.
Do you ever hear this story about the man who thought he saw the Archbishop of Canterbury in a railway carriage?
Did he?
Well, he thought he did.
Oh, aye.
I'll tell you the story. He says he said, oh, you know, he said, I was on the train the other day, and the bloke sitting opposite me, and I thought, that's the Archbishop of Canterbury.
The Archbishop of Canterbury?
Yeah, you know, Robert Runcie.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what it is? You keep looking at someone and you think, and they look at you and you look away and all this, and I thought, I'm sure it's him. So I went over to him and I said, excuse me, I said.
Yeah.
Don't wish to intrude or anything, but are you the Archbishop of Canterbury? And his mate says, what did he say? He said, push off, pal, or I'll kick your head in. So he said, so you don't know whether he is or not, then?
Well, actually, I thought...
That's the punchline!
Very clever.
Yeah.
Well done. Anyway, once I thought I saw John Deakin out of Queen.
Oh,
in actual fact, it was you, James.
John Deakin, which one's he? Oh, the good-looking one. Yeah, smashing.
Anyway, you won't have seen Top of Pops tonight, would you?
No.
Because you would have been, you know...
rehearsing.
Yeah, working so hard to get such a brilliant show tonight.
All that sort of thing, yeah.
Well, anyway, you know that All About Eve?
Yeah.
Well, oh, you should have seen it. You know how they all mime?
Yeah.
Well, they got all the timing wrong, and for one verse and a chorus, they just stood there.
What?
Just stood there doing nothing. She didn't open her mouth or now.
Oh dear me, really?
Yeah, that's true, that.
Listen, should I tell you the last time it went really badly wrong on Top of the Pops?
Yeah, go on.
It was a long time ago.
When they started it?
What?
When they started it?
Well, it used to come from Manchester at one time, but do you know why they cancelled it? Why they moved it to London?
Why is that?
Because they said there weren't enough attractive women in Manchester.
Weren't enough attractive women in Manchester?
They were fed up of having dogs, like, in the background, so they moved it to London.
That's not a very nice thing.
That's true. I speak the truth, actually. If Cecil Cora were here today, I'm sure he would verify it. And he rode up. So, do you remember a band called The Love Affair?
No, that's a bit beyond my time.
They did Everlasting Love and all this sort of thing.
I think so, yeah, go on.
Right. Anyway, off they went, and it really was live in those days, and the orchestra's going, and they start singing, but they're 4 bars behind.
Yeah.
So they're just getting they're approaching a climax, like you do, and suddenly the orchestra rockets off into the chorus, and they don't know what's going on. So they all settle down a bit. The orchestra's scraping away there, and right, hearts torn astray, deep it hurts, and the orchestra goes off again into the chorus, right? So the lead singer called